this in Raleigh, I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
That's interesting actually, because last night the way that I was going to end the conversation was I was going to give you a second chance and I was going to work bloody hard.
So we now have Amy, who has actually left the villa, and the fact that she has been heartbroken by Curtis. Hey guys, it's Murad Merali. Hopefully you guys are doing well today. If you haven't already, what are you doing with your lives? Click that button, subscribe to my channel for daily and consistent content, and follow me on my Instagram, Murad_Merali. If you guys want to, I would massively appreciate it. My handle is in the description box below. This story I find to be very interesting, and again, we have a lot to discuss and talk about when it comes to this whole kind of debacle. Amy Hart has actually left the villa, and reports are surfacing that she has gone to obtain psychological help, obviously given by Love Island Resources. They have decided to step in. Several different newspapers and articles are all discussing it and talking about it, and one of them is The Mirror, and they obviously discuss about the Love Island stuff quite frequently and consistently.
Carry on with the story. Yeah. Well,
Really bad.
okay, so the recoupling was in half an hour.
They said I'd recouple with her.
Fabulous.
What they have obviously expressed is that, you know, Love Island bosses have decided to step in because for Amy's health and care.
She said no, so you were like, oh, right then, go back to it.
I messed up, you know, I've hurt her.
Love Island bosses have decided to step in and obviously bring a form of care for Amy. Now this obviously tells us two main important things. One important thing, that the Love Island kind of psychological help, care and counselling is definitely there for her, definitely there for the contestants, and they are doing their job. But what it also tells us is that yet again we are having a show that is damaging somebody's mental health profoundly, to a point where we have to obviously discuss, is there a point in Love Island? Is there a point in, you know, having it for our entertainment if it's doing this much damage to people, where they have to leave the villa to obviously obtain a form of help or care? Now, reports are also surfacing that I think she's left temporarily, so she hasn't left permanently. She's just gone off the screens, gone off filming to try and really just seek help and, you know, calm down and get her thoughts together and everything. This show isn't for Amy Hart. This show is not for her. She is not ready for a show like this, because she is not ready for love, because she has yet to experience anything of that similar kind of nature, as she has expressed herself. And to obviously experience it all on TV can be very overwhelming.
It isn't how it was, because we're not in a relationship anymore.
Yeah.
Can be very shocking, nerve-wracking, can make you feel very weary of your environment, and can make you very unstable mentally, emotionally, in so many different factors and ways. And, you know, it does pose the question, like, perhaps she'll leave the villa and she'll still feel a certain type of unstableness. She'll rewatch the episodes, notice that everybody's watching what happened. We'll get secondhand embarrassment, first-hand embarrassment. We'll get very, you know, just unwell, and could slip into depression, and, you know, she could, you know, do something to herself. These are the plausible outcomes that we could potentially be seeing, irrespective of having a counsellor with you or not. So it does pose the question of, are these shows worth it if it's doing these to people countlessly, season after season? It's a very good question, and I'd really like you guys to just comment down below and talk about that, because I feel like this is an important discussion to have, because we don't really know what could potentially happen. We simply have no idea, you know, if this could potentially damage her. Hopefully the counsellors will be on her, especially everybody else, more so than the past contestants. But, you know, we have to really discuss this kind of potential issue. I also want to discuss is Curtis Pritchard, and I find him to be very interesting.
Like, okay, yeah, that is true.
Yeah, don't want to. That's fine.
Where I feel like he falls under this kind of umbrella of unit. Now, yet again, what I want to reiterate is that I'm not a qualified psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist. Yes, I have a clinical psychology and neuroscience background, and perhaps that's why it helps me to interpret these kind of observations. But I do want to reiterate that I'm not a professional, I'm not qualified in that manner or in that field, so these aren't professional diagnoses. This is just my own observations that I feel like are very important.
Carry on with the story. Yeah. Well,
Really bad.
okay, so the recoupling was in half an hour.
They said I'd recouple with her.
Fabulous.
And the reason why I say so is because he does align to the diagnostic criteria of the behavior attitudes. We have somebody who is very warmly received amongst a lot of people. He is seen to be the father of the house sometimes, somebody who everybody loves, somebody who everybody can go and talk to, somebody who everybody can feel safe around. He has this kind of opening, welcoming, popular nature. However, that character, that individual, that being is very different when he's with Amy. When he's with this particular individual, it's a whole different scenario most of the time that we are seeing. I mean, that whole difference between what we're seeing with Amy is what we're seeing now once the game has been exposed. Amy now has got a feeling and has known that something is going on that isn't real, and obviously has spoken to Curtis about it, and Curtis has let her know, and you can see Curtis is done with the situation now because he knows that she knows his game, therefore he wants to discard her. And what we find interesting here is that, notice this, catch this tea, please, just catch it. When it comes to Curtis, he has a lot of empathy and understanding for other individuals in the house, other contestants who are going through anything, such as Amber, such as Michael, such as Tommy, such as Lucy, such as Maura, etc., etc. But when Amy is confiding in him and letting him know how much he has hurt her, he has no empathy for her. You can see it right there and then. He doesn't feel sorry for her. You can see it in his face. He is dead behind the eyes. There is no emotion. He wants to just discard her and move along. That empathy that he has, this empathy that he has for other people, where he wants to care for them, he's there for them, he's suddenly this counselor with all these speeches, all this morality, all of that is gone when he is speaking with Amy, where they do not have empathy for the other person. They don't understand or know how to have empathy for the other person when that person is informing Curtis or the person in his position of how much they have hurt, how much hurt and pain, how much, to the point where even Curtis is saying there needs to be trust in our relationship. After he's done all of this, he's still saying there needs to be trust in the relationship, to the point where he knows he's got Amy like this. That's the reason why he went for Amy. He knows that he'd go for Amy to be the next Danny and Jack 2.0, the most loved couple. This was the reason for why he went for Amy, to go for that kind of nature. Once he realized that the game was going to be exposed, and because his plan to get Jordan failed, that plan failed, so he knew what he had to do, and you can tell from his face, he's very distraught and disheveled by that whole scenario, because he knows he has to do it because there are cameras around him. If there weren't cameras around him, I doubt he would have done that. This is what I feel like. Dead behind the eyes. No empathy for the person that he has hurt. No understanding, deep understanding of that, because you can tell that he's completely done with it. Very welcoming and an opening, massive person for everybody else. He's like a big teddy bear. He's more comfortable for them, but that's a completely different story for Amy. Once he now knows that Amy knows his game, you can see by his face he wants to discard the person. Once the game has been exposed, done with it, it's as if they become somebody else, and you can see it all in his face. And one of the big kind of, I feel, kind of signs are the lack of empathy and the dead behind the eyes. You can see that kind of if you look into it, and more so of a conscious. The conscious isn't that massive. You can tell that he feels now better. You've said that he feels better now that he's left Amy and discard that situation. And I feel like these are the kind of, it's just sad that Amy's first taste of love has been so bitter, so nasty, and it's been publicly served down our throats. It's unfortunate for her, to the point where she has had to leave the villa to get some form of psychological help because of the mental ruptures that have been caused by and infiltrated by Curtis. It's very shocking, it's very interesting, and it's very sad. Another important criteria is that they are skilled actors who only manipulate for personal gain. And this is exactly what everybody is even saying themselves now that they're seeing it. Even Yewande has spoken up about it, past Love Islanders, current ones who were dumped off from this season, that they feel he's playing a game, he's only manipulating her, using her, all this love and composure and dancing with her that day, all of that stuff, for just emotional manipulation gain. And he's doing it for gain because of all those wonderful speeches he gave to Amy. All those times he was so nice to her, to now switch and suddenly he doesn't find her attractive. suddenly it's gone from 100 to 0. It cannot go like that if you were that in love with somebody with all those features. It's gone like that because this 100 was always at 0. It was a complete emotional manipulation game. Now poor Amy has had to leave the villa to fix these kind of issues, to find some form of help, and I just find it very sad. Let me know what your thoughts are on this whole kind of issue that I'm talking about. What are your thoughts? Do you agree or disagree? And do you think Love Island should continue? And what, you know, at the expense of these Love Islanders' kind of mental health? I feel like it's a Black Mirror-esque kind of, you know, narrative storyline we're seeing here. Do subscribe to my channel. Click that button for more videos. Subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram, Murad_Murali, and I'll catch you guys soon for another video.